Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for coming to this episode. We'll be here on behalf of Stada Kenya to answer questions that were asked by some of the students, rather most of the students, when we went for a menstrual health hygiene management talk at Wagai Secondary. And today we are two. I'll begin by introducing myself and then I introduce my co. My name is Vera Atieno.
And I'm Terry Abura.
Okay, thank you so much, Terry. So we'll begin with the questions and I will do it alternatively. Like I'll be asking a question, then she asks a question. And if any of us can chip in, then we can continue. So the first question, this one was asked by one student. What can you do to reduce the menstruation pain? I think this girl wanted to know things about menstrual health management in terms of pain reduction while on their periods. In most cases, we usually advocate for exercises because once you exercise, you kind of release how can I say, your muscles don't become so stiff, they become a little bit relaxed, and that really helps in menstruation. And you can do exercises like maybe playing football, playing netball. Some will advocate for walking, but as long as your body is generally active. But in some cases, you can also use medication most people use Panadol, some use Buscopan and all other drugs. So provided they are they're prescribed, then you can use them. But I won't really advocate for these other traditional methods that can be so harmful to the girl during menstruation. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also think the exercise thing works, and also just allow your body to be active during menstruation, because like she has just said, when you do exercise, when your body is active, your muscles become relaxed, and so it is just a matter of making your body active. And if it worsens, now you seek medical attention from a doctor, so that some people watch for painkillers, and this sometimes leads to drug abuse, where someone now fully depends on the painkillers, and that is not advisable according to me. And unless it is prescribed, then we will just advocate for exercise and just making your body active. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Just to add on one, some girls usually prefer taking maybe warm water, or you take some water, not too hot water, but now you just put it around your belly, just around the abdomen. It also helps to ease that menstrual pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I have a question here, just on the line of menstruation. Are there any types of foods that one should eat or one should avoid during menstruation? According to me, what I've seen work for me during menstruation, first I take a lot of water, and it has worked for me. I don't feel so much dehydrated or so much fatigued. When you're on your menstrual period, you tend to lose blood, right? And this can cause fatigue. And I always take water, and also make sure that I eat food that boosts the blood in my body. Or we can take maybe a lot of vitamins, vegetables or fruits, so that you can boost the vitamin in your body. Yes.
Okay, on my end, I concur with what Terry has said about the kind of foods that you eat. Someone told me to eat maybe, let's say, beetroot, because they're rich in iron. There are things like maini, liver, you can also take them. And then also during menstruation, for my case, most of the time I usually feel so much bloated. And at times I find myself even maybe diarrhea during that period. So I'd really encourage someone to take food so much rich in fibers, because it really helps in constipation. But things I think alcohol, I don't think you need to take them during menstruation. Just take healthy foods that will just help you during that menstrual process. Okay, thank you. I'll go to the next question. This one was, why do most girls find it difficult to share out their stories? Basically, it's just because of maybe stigmatization, because we live in a society where people are like, what will people say about me when I say this issue that concerns my life or about menstruation? Because we have some girls, like maybe when I was in school those many years back, you'll find that a girl maybe menstruates for like even more than 2 weeks just because they had like a medical condition. But now they fear giving out, telling people that they're undergoing this problem, because people really have several misconceptions and beliefs about why you are taking long during that moment of menses. But just to keep everything aside, we need to really avoid stigmatization. We need to like end the period shame and just let people freely express themselves. So ideally, like, because most these questions are mostly asked by teenagers and let's say adolescents in general, and they want some feeling of belonging, that if I tell you something and then you go share it out with someone, everyone will know about me. And that is kind of stigmatizing to these girls.
Yeah, I think also one thing that happens, people do not understand. People think that girls are ready for menstruation. And as much as we're being taught about menstruation in schools and even at home, you see your elder sisters go through menstruation. When it happens to you for the first time, fact is you'll still be shocked. You'll still be like clueless, like you've not heard of this thing. Now it's happening to you. You know, when it's happening to someone else, it seems normal until it now happens to you. And I think on the matter of stigmatization, I think people that are around students or pupils that have started their menstruation, this is the place where they come in, like the teachers. We should talk to these kids so that they, even as we prepare them mentally, the theory part of it, I think also when now they go through the menstruation, they should also be talked to, so that kids may be open to talk about menstruation freely. They can speak about what they feel to their parents, to teachers, and to people that have already been through the menstruation period. Yeah.
And just to add on what Terry has said, I think we're getting into an era where this thing is not something new. Like menstruation generally is not something new. So I just hope maybe the Kenyan government, or those who develop the curriculums, they need to like introduce some part of menstrual health management in schools, both in the primary and the secondary schools. Because like Terry has said, it would really give a good platform where these girls can just share out their challenges, and with sharing you get to know more ideas and also how best to manage your life as a lady, especially during menstruation. Yeah.
So the next question, this kid says she has a cousin who's married, but she's on her menses and she's not able to give birth. And the next question, just in the same paper, she has said that she has a boyfriend and apparently they are sexually active. Now she's asking, why is it that when they are now engaging in the sexual activity, or when they are having sex in that matter, why does she feel pain? First, I'll just like to put it out there. Generally, even for people that are not in school, we advocate for pupils and students to abstain at all costs, right? And they don't have like a right to have sex. But this happens also to people that now are not in school, people that now have the right to make choices. And generally, when sex is painful, it is not being done the right way. It will not be painful. And I'm sure some of you are asking, how do I know? Yeah, it shouldn't be painful actually. When sex is painful, it is being done the wrong way. I believe sex is a pleasure. And when you're having sex, it's something that you should be enjoying. And like just having fun in the moment. And the moment now you feel like now it is getting painful, something is wrong, and these are the things that causes us to have these infections. You start bleeding from your cervical, or just some very weird infections that girls have, and that's just it. But for students, please abstain at all costs. But since you are sexually active, please make sure that your partner does not have sex with you roughly, or when you just feel it's painful, just stop at that moment. At that moment, yeah.
But some can stop at the moment. At times, okay. Yeah, sure. We usually advocate for like abstinence, like just generally abstinence. But in this case, this student is claiming that it's painful. I think for it to be painful, maybe she has some kind of, like she said, infections that she does not know about. And now from that point, now we'll be talking about now the sexual and reproductive health part of it, apart from menstruation. So if it's painful, then if it's painful and you're legally getting it, then you need to seek for medical attention.
Yeah.
But in this case, you're stealing. Yeah, you're stealing because you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But either way, you need to seek medical attention. Because in as much as maybe you are bleeding too much or you are now experiencing this pain, then a gynecologist is the best person to talk to. You can talk to a friend. You can talk to a friend, and maybe they also have their own views about that. So the best approach to take, you just go to the hospital, get yourself tested and screened maybe for an STI, because that would be a possible chance of an STI. And then now you just get to know the best way forward. After that, just keep yourself safe. Use protection if applicable. If you have to, then use protection. That is if you have to. But if you don't have to, you better abstain and keep yourself free from several of these things.
Yeah, and again, also on the matter of the cousin who can't give birth, I know we are in a society, or we live in a society where by the time this girl knows that her cousin cannot give birth, it is something that is being talked about. And now people are now questioning why is it that she's not giving birth right now. In my thinking, I don't think the cousin has a responsibility of producing a child. But since now it is becoming an alarming issue, I think they should see a doctor and or a gynecologist in that matter, right? So that they can know or see, maybe they might be blaming the cousin for not giving birth, and maybe the husband has the problem of not producing children, And so I think they should just seek medical attention. But if the marriage is still in its prime stages, I don't think it is something so much alarming. Kids are a blessing from God, and so we wait for God to intervene.
And also to add on what Terry has said, I can remember some time back, like I had this group of friends who were who were asking how comes someone is not able to give birth and yet they receive their periods. Actually, it's possible. Because, you can, depending on the biological makeup and also other diseases, for example, fibroids. Someone who has fibroids can really find it so difficult to have children. Yet every month she bleeds, and even the bleeding is even, it's heavy and even very much painful. So the end thing is, just go to the hospital, because all this information, you'll find it best in a medical setup as opposed to you just being at home and relying on what people are talking about regarding sexual and reproductive health. So either way, enda OC, ufanyiwe uchunguzi, and then you'll come to know the right thing to do. Now I have this question from, it's in Swahili, but I'll just read it out. Hey, it's interesting. Kama umefanya sex, kama uko karibu kunyesha, bado utashika mimba ama? I'll translate for people who don't understand Swahili. The lady's you've engaged in sex and you are about to menstruate. Kunyesha in Swahili, it's a local slang, meaning menstruation. So this girl is asking if she has sex before menstruating, can she get pregnant? For me, I actually don't think there's any day you call a safe day. Although, to some it applies, but now I'm looking at it from this scenario, because now the biological aspect of it, there's a time now that complete your cycle of menstruation, from the time the eggs in a form to the times in a shed, until now the whole process is complete. I think this lady, because she can have sex, yes, but now the ovulation comes earlier. And remember, the sperm can stay in the body for even up to 7 days. That is 5 to 7 days. So maybe you have sex today, and then you finish your menstruation 3 days later. And then now, because of different reasons that usually like cause ovulation, you like ovulate even in the 5th day, and then you have sex. Remember, that sperm is still like active. You can get pregnant. So what I really advocate, even though people have different ways of calculating the safe days, but it's tricky. It's a 50-50 thing. I can't say it's 100% effective, because there are people who even become pregnant like even days after menstruation. And then maybe if you're not sure about your calculation also, you can just end up messing everything. So I just advocate, if you have to, then use protection, just to be on a safer side. Use protection. Yeah.
I'm surprised that the sperm can stay up to 7 days and it's still active.
It can. It can.
Oh, that is terrible. Yeah, I think generally I just think your safe days are when you are not actually having that sex. Yeah, you just abstain from it. Actually, because we are now answering students' questions, I think students students should just abstain. Isn't this what we are talking about? And also they also saying at school abstinence is good. And yeah, but me, I don't think if there are safe days. I think you can get pregnant even after using protection. And you talk to people, we use protection, but they are pregnant. Yeah. Yeah, but they are pregnant. I think we should just abstain, especially if you don't like. If you are still a minor, just abstain. Yes.
Yeah.
Another question. Yeah, it is still on the same thing, safe days. This pupil or this student is asking, when are your safe days? I think we don't have safe days, and if we do, I think unless you know how to calculate your menstrual cycle, then don't just risk it. Just abstain. If you do not know how to calculate your cycles, I'd just advocate for abstinence. Don't even try it. Yes. Unless Vera has something.
I don't have anything to add. Yeah.
Another question. This kid is asking, why do we have different feelings during our menstruations? We have these hormonal behaviors. Some get cramps, some you feel nauseated, you feel headache. And that, I think it depends with someone's hormones. People react differently to menstruation. Some become very smooth on the face. Some have a lot of pimples. And I think it differs with one body to another. For different girls that menstruate.
It's really true about the hormonal imbalances or hormonal changes during menstruation. Because you can find that someone, when they're even menstruating or about to menstruate, they become wild, like they're just unapproachable. But there are those who like you can easily approach. Some will have like cravings towards certain foods, like maybe sugar, soda, like these snacks and everything. So it depends on the person. It varies from one person to another. So like Terry has said, that those who now have acne on the face, and that those who are also smooth, that those who will be sick throughout, that those who will be like vomiting throughout the whole process, until you're like, is she pregnant or is she in a menses? So it differs from one lady to another. It's just about you understanding your body, and also like going for what works best for you, not like comparing your body to another person's.
Another question I've had is also, a student is asking, how should she react when people laugh at her during her menstruation, when she stains her clothes? First, before we even go to how she should react, I think we've just talked about stigmatization. I think it is, we've reached a point, we're in a century where menstruation should be something that everyone now is accustomed to, just like Vera had said. And when you see a girl has soiled her clothes, I think we should take it with a lot of decorum, and kids should also be taught, mostly both boys and girls alike, when you see your fellow student has stained her clothes, or just in town you are walking and you see someone has stained their clothes, there's a way you should handle this person instead of starting pointing fingers at this person. And we've heard of cases where there are people with low self-esteem, and people would go and maybe commit even suicide. People will even drop out of school and just want to stay away from these people, or they'll even change their cycle of friends. You see, and these are the kind of things that makes a society, this brings up a toxic society. And when we reach a point where we want to start laughing at people because they've gone through a natural thing that women go through, it talks volumes about the community or the pupils or the children that we are bringing up. Now on this person, I think we should find people that we trust. According to me, we should find someone that you can really confide in. When someone laughs at you, I think mostly in schools there are teachers that we have psychosocial support teachers that talk to pupils or students in schools, and I think they should talk to these people, and the teachers should also talk to the pupils about these matters. And when we do not have teachers to support our mental health, it makes kids do things that you'll start even questioning yourself, how did they even get to that point? And so they should seek people that they trust so that they share on their feelings about what they're feeling.
Okay, it's true, because if you talk about soiling clothes, I won't really say it's only for kids who are in school, even us as grown-ups. You know, sometimes you usually have maybe you're used to a light floor, and then there's this day you now experience the heaviest floor until now your pad is too full, and then now it leaks at some point. So, you know, if you live in a society where people are really not well sensitized on shame, then it becomes so difficult. But now the first thing we need to do is sensitization. This thing is normal. Like Terry said, even if you walk in the streets, I know even right now you go to the streets, you won't even meet, you'll get at least one person who has soiled the cloth. And even right now we have the legislative part of Kenya that is really trying to advocate for menstrual health management. So it's something normal, it's not something abnormal. Just take it positively and let it not pull down your esteem. It's something that each and every person experiences. So you're not the first one to experience it, and you also want to be the last one to experience it. Just take it positively. Don't take it personal, because that is where the problem usually starts. It's normal. Girls, it's normal. Ladies, it's normal. And to men, please, don't point fingers. Don't point fingers. You also one day have a daughter. Don't point fingers.
And also one thing we tell students is that menstruation is the normal bleeding of the vagina. That's just how we define menstruation to pupils and to students. And I just want to put it out there that it is very normal. It is very normal. It's not like now you're pooing on your clothes. It is something normal, and you as a woman, you cannot control it. Yes. I think the next question I'll allow Vera to talk about, because she was talking about it before we started the podcast. Does drinking chocolate speed up menstruation period?
I think that's okay. Generally, it's usually a myth, or rather you can call it a misconception. But to some extent, I won't say now people to go and look for drinking chocolates, and you're like, hizo zinaisha kwa supermarket because ladies are running for it. There's some people, not that they don't, but there's some people who usually take, maybe if you're in your periods, they prefer chocolate because it isn't, it I can say just makes you feel a little bit easy. And there are also those that will take the chocolate and also their periods will be increasing in terms of the amount. So in a way it's just something psychological. It's something someone is accustomed to, and she's if I take drinking chocolate, then it's either my periods will be more or they'll reduce. But at the end of the day, this thing is natural. And that's why it even takes some given period. I don't think if you take chocolates, you'll menstruate for 20 days. It will still be 3 days. So it's just the psychological aspect that someone has towards this. And it also comes in as a myth, or rather misconception. Because those will tell you that if I take maybe tea when I'm menstruating, then it affects my periods. It's just what people do think about. I've not really come across a research question or a research topic or a research that has been conducted by people concerning breaking chocolates and this one. So we really can't prove if it's something so true. It's just like a general assumption. So I think the more we delve into this, the more maybe we conduct more researches, then we'll know if it's true or not. But meanwhile, it's just a psychological aspect of menstruation.
Okay. You've heard it's psychological.
It's psychological, actually.
Yeah. The next question is on our reusable sanitary towels, and the student is asking, like, she has heard that when you use our sanitary towels, the reusable ones, if not washed well, they can bring infection. True. If you generally, when your pants or your underwears, when you do not wash them well and do not take care of them, they'll bring you infections. It will bring other things, complications on your vagina. Mind you, these reusable sanitary towels, when we distribute them to school, we tell kids how to take care of them and how to use them. And so what we do, we tell them majorly, generally, even when you have gumboots and you're using your gumboots well, it's just like taking care of your tools. The better you take care of them, the better they serve you. Like when you use your gumboots from the shamba, if you come back home, just put them out, they get rained on, then you use them the next day, they'll not serve you for a very long period. In fact, they will not even serve you well. But you have athlete foot, you'll start feeling like you have smelly legs, or the gumboots will be smelling. So our reusable sanitary towels, when you do not wash them well, and I do not mean washing well like you wash them with brush and so on, when you do not wash them well or rinse them with clean water with enough soap, and like enough water, you don't just take water like the one that you're bathing with and wash it the way you always wash your pants. You wash it well, then you put it somewhere until it dries well. Some people take it and put it under the mattress, and that is not advisable. First, it will not dry well. Secondly, there are bacteria that will get into the reusable sanitary towels. Then you'll still want to use this while, mind you, you are menstruating, and our blood is not water. It is like blood red, and sometimes the weight of the blood, it is not like water. And when it stays there for a while, it stinks, you see. And so if you do not take care of it, it will definitely give you infections, definitely. And so we advocate that you take care of them well, wash them well with enough water and soap. Do not just rinse it with soap and water, like enough water. Then make sure that you put them in a line where they get enough sun and air, so that it dries well.
It's good. It's true. It all comes down to hygiene, just your personal hygiene. Because even just like she talked of your normal pants, you can't like put on the same pant like for 3 days consecutively without washing. Remember, even your vagina in itself, it cleans itself like naturally, and when it cleans itself, those like the dirt that usually come out, and then they settle on the underwears. So if you don't clean, then there are really high chances of you having infections, and that can be even not just short term but even long term, depending on how you manage yourself. So it's just about general body cleanliness during and after menstruation, regardless of the kind of pad you're using. And even at the moment that you're using the reusable towels, they're made of cotton, and cotton is usually advisable for girls, but if you can't keep it clean, then definitely you're going to have infections. So just maintain your hygiene during, before, and also after your menses.
The next question is that is it that if you miss your periods for a month, you are pregnant? I don't know. When you miss your menstruation in a month, I don't think, mostly it's not always because you are pregnant. But the first thing I'd advise that someone takes a pregnancy test, right? So that now you be sure. Now, because most people are afraid of being pregnant. Someone would rather have an STI than to be pregnant. Or someone would rather contract HIV than become pregnant, right? Because pregnancy is demonic, according to students and young people who are not married nowadays, right? And so I think there are people that have irregular periods. Like myself, I remember there was a time I went like for a month without seeing my periods, and the first thing I did, I went to the hospital. I was so alarmed. I was like, am I pregnant? And mind you, I knew in my head that I had not. And so when I went to the hospital, it was something, it wasn't something that big, you see. It just happened that I'm an irregular person. Like my menses do not like, I cannot point out a date that this time next month I'll start my periods, right? And so I know at the end of the day it takes up to 28 days or 21 days. If it 28 to 30, and it is normal, you see. It does not mean that you are pregnant. It does not always mean that you are pregnant. But if you are sexually active, I'd advise that the first thing you do is to test for pregnancy.
Yes, and also with the regular menses, I think if I can just go back, the first time I had my periods, I think that question usually it really fits someone who has just begun her periods. Okay, I had it for the first time, the first month, and then the next month I didn't have it. And by then I was, I think, in Form 1 or Class 8 at that point. And you know, the first worry was like, why is it that people are having theirs consecutively and then I'm missing mine for a whole month? So, like she said, our bodies are different. Our biological makeup is different. That's number one. And also, you can miss your periods, not even for a month. At times, it can just delay. Because if I can talk about my end, I just want to give myself as an example. I'm this person that when the weather changes, like right now it's okay, it's sunny and everything, but now when the weather changes, maybe after like 2-3 weeks, it really triggers menstruation on my end. And at times even now it comes even later, even maybe a week later than I expected. So it's not just about like different fears that we need to be having, but just understand your body, understand your reproductive health, because it varies from one person to another. There's that person who will bleed like for like even after 2 weeks. Like she bleeds today, after 1 week, the third week she's also like in a month she bleeds like twice. And with you it's like once, and then you skip maybe some periods before you bleed again. So it differs from one person to another. And now if you're sexually active, when you tell your mesema, that one you can't risk. If you just feel now like you've missed, because in pregnancy it's like missing the period is usually one of the signs of pregnancy. So if you feel like your body is not the way it needs to be and you're also sexually active, then give it a pregnancy test, which sometimes it can come out maybe to be a false negative test, and maybe you're pregnant. So maybe you can go over the counter, you buy that PDT test, but now when you test yourself it's negative. But when you go to the hospital there, they do the blood and all that test, then it turns out positive. So kama unajishuku, like if you feel like this is not my normal body and I'm sexually active and I really miscalculated my days, then go for a test. But for a student, you really have like a life that is far much beyond being pregnant while you're in school. So just abstain at the end of the day.
Another thing I also read that it depends with the amount of work that you do. And most of people who do a lot of exercises where you strain your body so much, you push your bodies so much, they tend to miss their periods. So it depends with the kind of exercises that you do, the kind of food mostly that you eat. It can also affect the menstrual cycle of someone. And so maybe if you're doing a lot of work, maybe it can come very little. You see, your period might start coming very little until it reaches a point where sometimes you miss even for 2 months, you see. And so also our bodies, the hormones of our bodies react to how active your body is. And so that can also sometimes affect our menstruation. There's this question. This girl is asking, why is it that when she's almost about to go for her menses, she sees white discharges? Mostly they're mucus. I think Vera I allow Vera to
Okay, one thing we need to know, like during that, like you as a woman, you have different kinds of discharge. Okay, there's one that usually appears cloudy. There's one that now appears watery, like when you're about to ovulate. Like if you look at it, it looks like a gel, kind of like the egg whites of an egg. That's kamaji thing. So this weight discharge, I think it's still hormonal, though I don't have that time to explain the whole biology about it, about the phases, the different phases of menstruation. So during these phases, we come to realize that we usually produce different kinds of fluids through the vagina. But now the only thing that really should worry you is when now that color is different from the expected one, because in most it's usually cloudy, it's usually whitish, or maybe that egg white yolk. And now when you start seeing things to be so browny, you start seeing greeny discharge, you start seeing something yellow, then you really need to be worried. And then now if these discharges come, and then they also come with some kind of smell, then basically you are going to experience some STI, or maybe you have a vaginal infection. But in some cases, there are people, like I can say maybe for me, after periods, there's that time that you have that droplet of some brownish discharge. So I was told never to worry, because that's just a way of the vagina cleaning itself for the remaining blood particles. So at that point, it's so normal to experience that discharge. But now when it becomes itchy, when it becomes smelly, then just go to the hospital, because it can be a cause maybe of other bacterial infections. You can have things like candidiasis, vaginitis. There are quite a number of diseases. So if it's so much uncomfortable, if it's so much itchy, then you'd rather go to the hospital. But every other kind of discharge, biologically it's normal.
Just like Vera said, it has some kind of smell. And if that smell you do not feel the smell, the normal one, now you need to start now worrying. Yes.
And then there's this common smell, the fishy smell. Inanuka kama samaki, like fish. Like, you know, someone is somewhere, someone has passed you, and it really smells like fish, and you're like, is this person selling fish? Because like I'm just getting that fishy smell. It's usually common, and that one comes in maybe if it's a uterine tract infection. And with UTIs, you can get it from even as easy as going to like sit. You see these toilets that people do sit, and then you go there and you don't know the person who sat before you, and then you sit down, you pee there, your pee splashes back from the walls back to you, then you end up getting the UTIs and all that, and now you have those fishy smells. Don't really worry, just go to the hospital. They have different kinds of medication, but once you go there, when you're given that medicine, just use it well, because if you don't use it, then there'll be a recurrence. And there's some that will be told maybe this one you can swallow. Some will be told to be inserting them like through the vagina, maybe at night when you're going to sleep. So it's just up to you to go back to the hospital. Don't be shy to explain to your doctor like this and this is happening, because if you're shy from it, you'll end up hurting yourself, yet this person can like help you overcome that condition. So with the discharges, everything is normal. But now when it becomes kind of alarming that it's not what you really expected, then go and see your doctor. And don't take like over-the-counter drugs. The people will tell you that if you have that fishy smell, you go and take, I don't know, garlic. You take garlic and then you peel that outer cover, alafu unatoboa mashimo, and then you put it there. And then now that smell will disappear. My friend, the vagina is sensitive.
Some even say you put salt in water, then you sit on it in warm water, then the smell will go.
No, it can be that UTI, but also another condition alongside it. So don't believe what people say. There's some people tell you to put lemon. I don't know how it works, but don't believe, because you know, even the bacteria, the vagina itself, you know, there's a way in which it should be. That's why I told you, even if you're bathing, don't use perfume soap on the vagina. I know you're going to bring like you're going to bring like garlic, and the way garlic smells, you know, just go to the hospital and get the final thing.
This next question, this kid says it's personal, so I don't know if it's okay if we read it. Okay. She said she has had pains around vagina, and she has gone to the doctor, and the doctor has given her medicine, she has finished the dose, and still 3 weeks later, she still feels the pain and the itchiness around the vagina. First thing I'd like just want to put out there, you know, sometimes we go to the doctor, right? There are questions you're being asked by the doctor, and you know, as youths or teenagers, you are asked, are you sexually active?
No.
And you see, like, hey, a doctor asking you, are you sexually active? You say, the moment you no, I'm not sexually active.
Especially if you're with your parents.
Yeah, especially when you're with your parent, because a student will not go to the hospital alone. Maybe, like, are you sexually? Do you sleep with more than one man? No. Everything is no. Anything that you feel might put you into trouble, you say no. And my thinking is that maybe this student had not just shared what she was really now going through with the doctor, and maybe she was misdiagnosed, or maybe she was just given antibacterial medicines just to do what, to like kushikilia tu, you see, and for some time, but it might be something serious, you see. And so I'd advise, like, maybe if you feel like what you went to the doctor and told the doctor is not working according to the doctor's prescription, maybe you should go back and tell the doctor what now is really happening, so that maybe you see someone now, a specialist, who will check up on you and give you the right doses for what you are now suffering from. Yes,
and apart from that, I think you really need to understand your body. It's generally about understanding your body, such that really don't wait until now you are now feeling extensive pain is when you go to hospital. When you just feel like things are not really adding up, your 1 + 1 is not adding up, go to the hospital. You know, just be as honest as possible. You know, there's something in which, like, when you're honest, you really get a lot of help, as opposed to when you're like keeping information to yourself. So the more you tell the doctor, just be open. You tell the doctor, maybe I had an intercourse with someone I didn't know. Then they can now find a way out. But if you go there pretending to be an angel, yet to know what you did, it will still come back down to you. So just be cautious of what you're going to say. Just tell the doctor everything, and they'll just give you the final result and the best medications to use.
I think this is the last question. They are asking, how can you, as STADA organization, help these orphan girls and children to afford these pads? I don't know whether she's talking about the disposable or the reusable, but generally, even if they're disposable, like, our office is always open, I think from 8 to 5 p.m. And so, I mean, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the evening, and we always have disposable sanitary towels always ready for any girls. The good thing is that we do not look whether you are an orphan or so long as you need them, you'll get them. The reusable sanitary towels, we always distribute them in school. We give a number. You know, mostly it's not always all the girls that gets it. Mostly we ask the teachers to pick out the vulnerable pupils or students in schools, and when we can give to the whole school. And so when you feel you cannot afford sanitary towels, we always ask in every community that we visit, in every school that we visit, that our office gives sanitary towels for free, and that is disposable sanitary towels for free. And so during your menstruation, if you can access STADA office, you are free to come at any time, and you'll be assisted with sanitary towels. Yes.
I think I don't really add so much, because it's so direct in the ways in which usually help in the management of menstrual health. Yes. Now from my end, this one wants me to become a love doctor. I'll try to be one. So this one, it's more of a relationship question. And it's in Kiswahili. I think when I read it in Kiswahili, it sounds so interesting as opposed to English. Okay. Anasema, na miss chali wangu. Anytime namkumbuka hadi nikiwa class. What can I do to stop this? As in, this is someone who is so much honest with herself. She says, ana miss chali wake. Chali is also a slang means boyfriend. Like, I miss now let me paraphrase this. I miss my boyfriend. Every time I think about him, even if I'm in class, what can I do to stop this? Hey, students. Okay, you miss your boyfriend. You know, at the end of the day, I really don't want to be so harsh on this girl. But to my knowledge, do what took you to school. You didn't go to school to like study boyfriend or study man or anything. You went there to like go work hard in school and make your parents proud. So what I'm saying, I'll just tell this student one thing: study. Boyfriends won't really end. They'll still be there whether you're in or out of school. But no, just set your priorities right. Go there to study. This issue of boyfriend, girlfriend, because even if it's your boyfriend, like, what are you doing with the boyfriend in high school? Like, what help? Okay, so like I was saying, just set your priorities right. Go to school to study, not to like engage in relationships. These ideas of people now, nowadays we used to write letters. Nowadays you have phones. Actually, you can do a lot of things with your phone as opposed to not like going after relationships and you're in school. So just study. Once you're done with school and you're done with everything about school, then now you can engage in relations. But at the moment, boyfriend utamkumbuka tu, but hakuna penye mtapelekana na yeye. You'll just be, okay, your mind will be like, I just have to like think about him. And at the end of the day, even if you sit down and do your math, hakuna chenye nakusaidia nayo. Yeah. So just set your priorities right. Study when you're meant to study. Time yako kupata boyfriend ikifika, utampata. So just when you release hapa, what can I do to stop this? Just stop it. Full stop. Yes. Any addition?
I think just find something to occupy your time. I know. I think I understand the girl when she says she thinks about her boyfriend. It is a fact that young love, you know, you want to look at remember this person, the things that you do when you're not in school, and that is love according to the students. And my thought on it is just find something to occupy that time. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there's also this one. Another lady wants me to be a love doctor. Differentiate between lover and boyfriends. For sure, I wouldn't. A lover and a boyfriend. To a student, maybe if it was an adult class, I could have done this, but a lover and a boyfriend, do what took you to school. But still, if it was something like maybe a class of a relationship talk, then I think Terry could help me with this.
I don't know how to differentiate between a lover and a boyfriend. I think Brian can be my boyfriend. Like, you see, this is my boy buddy, my boyfriend. But fact be told, that's not how we translate it anyway. If I say Brian is my boyfriend, people will automatically understand that Brian is
your lover.
Like, no, we are dating, you see. And what I think this girl wants us to say is that your lover is not your a friend that is a boy. Your lover is now more than just being friends, and your boyfriend is just your friend. Like, you can have me as your friend. And okay,
what I'll tell this girl, just now to be a bit lenient, we usually don't say that we don't need to be friends with people of the opposite sex. Yeah, it's so normal to have friends who are boys. But now when you want to now differentiate between a lover and a boyfriend, it now talks of the kind of boundary you are setting. You know, if you take someone as your friend, this is your friend, but not someone like you're romantically involved with. So every person can be your friend, be it a boy or a girl. But now, set your boundaries for it not to translate into being a lover when you're in school. Yeah, so just have as many friends as you can. But now, ile ya ku-upgrade, you want to upgrade him from a boyfriend to a lover, hapo ndo sasa shida inakuja if you are a student. So at the end of the day, just do take care of yourself and just stay strict to your boundaries. Your time ya ku-upgrade huyu mtu ikifika, let it be, but not within the school context that we are still in school. Yeah. The last one. Another question in Swahili. I think this one we tackled. Kama mtu akona discharge mingi na hakuna smell, hiyo unasaidiwa aje? Like, if someone has a lot of discharge, but there's no smell, like how does she be helped? What I think we need to explain here is that the flow varies from one person to another. We have people who have a lighter menstrual flow and those who have a heavier menstrual flow. So and there are also people, like we mentioned before, who will only take maybe 2 to 3 days and they're done, and then those will even take more days
7
to be
days,
done.
yeah.
So as long as it's still like your menstruation, as long as you really don't like feel additional maybe pain, additional discharges, and it's something normal, then take it as normal. But what I want to advise someone is to go and take medications that will stop periods, because they're over the counter. But now the problem is that we'll take these medications, but now later they have their own side effects. Itafika point yenye unanyesha tu throughout. So don't really think that we kama uko na period mzito na mwingine uko na period light, then you are a lesser being. All of you are girls.
Yeah.
But just it depends on how best you uptake what you want.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's that final question, like mtu
anaoshwa tumbo, like why do they wash their stomach when you've given birth?
Okay, I think washing, not, when someone says washing anaona ni sabuni na maji, but I'm now talking about that from the medical perspective. For those who've given birth, when you're mezaa, wanajua like after delivery, they usually clean they remove the placenta, and then now they clean the uterus and all that, because maybe if that blood remains there, then it will cause infections. At times it even could cause infertility or any other diseases. That's why they have to like clear out that everything that was associated with that pregnancy, so that even if you're going to get pregnant again, it becomes a whole new process. So that is the reason as to why people like wanasafishwa. But to some people usually take it the local way. Sijui nasikia ukikunywa majani chai, sijui naosha tumbo. As in, people have different misconceptions about this. Ukikula sijui nini, like tumbo yako inaoshwa, just go to the hospital. The people who have miscarriages, they have to be like undergo that process. There are those who maybe by accidentally they get to abort pia wanaoshwa, but now that only happens under the medical context. Ukienda kwa these people around that really don't know about, they'll tamper with your blood vessels in the uterus, and then that's when they will come and find someone like bled excessively, and that can also lead to death. So the best way is just going to the hospital. The doctor will explain to you why you're supposed to like be cleansed, and then they'll do it the appropriate way. But if you just go to the local people, everyone has their own idea and their own way of doing things. So take it the medical way, and I think it will really save that person in that situation. Yeah, so I think we are done, unless Terry has something to add on top of all this discussion that we had.
What I'll just add is let's take care of ourselves. Our personal hygiene is very important, and even the smallest things that we talk about are very serious things, like just even bathing. Please bathe. Please just wash your pants well and zianike tu kwenye zinaweza kauka vizuri, unaona. The simple things that we do as girls are the things that affect us. It can either affect you positively or negatively. Kuvaa tu panty baridi can make you contract some very serious diseases, you see. And just washing it clean na kuanika tu hapo kwa kamba juu ichape tu vizuri, it can help you prevent some things here. Another thing on stigmatizations, please, we are in the 21st century, and I know maybe people say there are people that are still behind, but the percentage of people that are still behind and the people that now are moving forward, I think by now should be at a very low ratio, unaona. And so let's just embrace menstruation, especially those that do not like menstruation. Please, let's embrace menstruation. It is something that makes us women. And personally, I know I don't like menstruation, but I'm proud of menstruation. I don't like it. I don't like it. But what can we do? It is already here. It is natural. We as women, we are bound to menstruate. Yeah. On relationships, if you are a school kid and you're watching this, please just abstain. Yeah, children, we were born and we found children being born. You'll also give birth when the right time comes, you see. And so let's not rush anything. In fact, there's something we used to say when we were in school, and I know it was used in a bad context, but I'll just put it there that stolen waters are sweet. Very sweet. They are very sweet. You see, chakula jirani ni tamu. Unaona? But the consequences of taking that water now is what matters, you see. So let's make sure that we do not steal those waters, no matter how sweet they can be. So just abstain, and there's always the right time. Hakuna haraka Africa, especially Kenya. We hatunanga haraka.
Slow.
Yeah, we do things at our own pace. And so I don't know why we were running or we are rushing to these things. Let's abstain at all costs and embrace talking to people about what you feel. Find teachers, find parents, your peers. Speak out, and what we do. Women, we are very powerful, and if you cannot speak as a woman, I feel sad. Yeah, so let's just speak out so that we may help each other. Yeah, that's it from me. Again, I'm Terry Abura from Stada, Kenya. We love you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Just like Terry has said, it's high time as ladies, let's stand for ourselves. Be ready, just be able to express yourself regardless of the situation, and don't really mind about what people will say about you, because whether good or bad, people will still talk. Ukifanya vizuri, they'll talk. When you do the wrong thing, they'll talk. When you are neutral, they'll still talk. So in terms of MHM, or rather menstrual health management, as a lady, as a girl, as a woman, as a feminine, understand your body and know that you are different from other people. So the moment you understand yourself, it really makes everything so easy. And then with these myths and misconceptions, the moment you continue like digging, like following them, then you realize that we're really like on the losing end, because we won't now like think like maybe biologically. We just be associating everything with beliefs, everything with culture, everything with customs. Culture is good because it defines you, but really don't do something because culture says, and know very well that it is wrong. So that's from me. I'm still Vera Atieno from Stada. And for any case, if maybe you watching this, you are a teacher, you want us to come and speak to your students concerning MHM, health and hygiene, just come, contact us. We have the office numbers, our Facebook page, Stada Kenya. You can just communicate through any of those channels. And we look forward to really getting to know more about you. We look forward to doing more partnerships in terms of menstrual health management. And we know that at the end of the day, we'll ensure justice towards young girls and women. Equality. Everything. Equality, justice, all those towards young girls and women. Otherwise, bye until next time.